Hey everybody, this is Mike Goldstein of the C.A.N Report, Conditions, Actions, and Needs. Nozzle Tov to all of you out there. I'm with Nate Gendreau tonight. I'm really excited to have him as my guest. I've known Nate now for a few years, and I think everyone's going to get a lot out of him. So I'm pumped to have him on. Nate Gendreau, he started his life in the fire service as a fire explorer with the Hudson Fire Department. Then he attended the New Hampshire Fire Academy in 2018. And shortly after the fire academy, he obtained his EMT license. And then he started working in private EMS. And then he was working in the fire service in 2022 in January. And he worked for the Epsom, Chichester, Derry Fire Rescue. And then in 2023, he started working full-time with the City of Laconia Fire Department. And while going through probation, he attained his advanced EMT license. So, Nate Gendreau, welcome. Thank you for being on my podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You. And man, we've known each other for a bit, right? A few years.
Yep.
Man, it's been a pleasure working with you. So Nate and I started working together at the Explorer Academy, the New Hampshire Fire Explorer Academy. And man, you were awesome in that. You still are awesome in that.
Thank you.
My daughter, when she went through it last year, or actually still this year, she had nothing but good things to say about your brother. She was so pumped. She just had nothing but good things. She's like, Nate's he's such a cool guy. He was so nice. He was so friendly. He was funny. And you have that, you have a dry humor about you that it seems to put people at ease. You have a very calming way about you that the kids really can feel comfortable around you with. And I think that's why you and I get along so well, because you're just very chill. You're very calm. And you have a very humble way about you. And so I'm excited to talk about you and your journey into the fire service. So what inspired you to become a fire explorer?
I've kind of thinking about that, and it's like how I see everybody else, and like how I think of how, in my mind, everybody else got into the fire service, right? You're a young 4-year-old kid that sees a fire truck for the first time. Was actually going through pictures a couple weeks ago and found one of me standing in bunker boots with a Hudson helmet on, standing on the tailboard of their old engine 2. And again, in that picture, I was 4 years old. So I kind of based my personality off of it, right? A truck that drives fast down the road, makes loud noises, bright flashy lights, and kind of just from there, I just took off with it. And then just, as we're going to talk about, kind of how everything else transpired off of that, but just based my personality off of a thing that makes loud noises.
Sure. Now, so you started at what age in the Explorer program?
I started at 14 years old.
Okay. And did you do that all the way to 18?
I did it all the way to 21, actually.
Wow.
I did it until I fully aged out. The area in Hudson, so I grew up in Hudson, and the area that I grew up in, it was too far from either Litchfield or Pelham or any other town that really had any established call departments, because at that point Hudson had already gone to a full career department. So I kind of just hung on to the Explorer program as long as I could until I could get my foot in the door in either a per diem or a full-time job.
Now, for the Explorer Academy, you must have just had so much fun and learned so much to continue from 14 to 21. I mean, that's a career. If you're starting a career, I mean, that's a long time to do that.
Yeah.
And you must have grown and a lot during the Explorer program. And what was it like being an Explorer on the Hudson Fire Department? Was it different members helping to train you, or was it one person? Or
yeah, so when I first started there, our head Explorer advisor was Captain Dave Morin.
Good man. Dave Morin's a good man.
Yep. And so I was with him until I was about 18. And then that's about the time that he retired. And then it switched over to at the time he was the deputy chief, but Scott Tice, who's now the chief of the department over there, he kind of took over the reins. But at that point, it was kind of like the chief was asking for other guys on the department to help run the post. You have all of the chief duties, but he's trying to help out with the Explorer program, get that back up and running. Um, so I tried to help step up into that role at that point because I was the oldest. I was 18. So I kind of tried to step up and help run the post when there weren't a whole lot of advisors, give them a helping hand so that the new kids coming in could get that full experience that I had. But I also used that after 18 experience. I was out of high school. I knew the fire service was what I wanted to do. So I kind of used that experience and I did as much ride time as I could with them. It was every day with a one shift. I would always just go in and just do ride time and try to, again, gain as much experience from them as I could.
That's amazing, man. Did you get to catch any jobs? Like, did you
I
actually get to
did
go to
not.
fires? No,
Nope.
no fires when you were.
Nope.
Oh man.
The day that I aged out, the shift after they had a fire.
Of course.
So it seems like it's a trend that's just continued for me though.
Yeah. So you were the white cloud when you were doing the Explorer stuff.
Yep.
And then, so it seemed like you wanted to give back, and then you helped with the Explorer Academy. Did you go to the Explorer Academy when you were doing the?
I never had the opportunity to. It seemed like every time that they would open the application process up, it would close fairly quick just because of how popular it was. And I just couldn't get the paperwork in on time.
Oh man. Wow. So you missed it all the time?
Yep.
That sucks.
Yep. Yep.
Lack of a better word, that sucks.
Yeah.
So, all right. So then you, in the Fire Academy, you did that in 2018.
Yep.
Did you piecemeal that out? Did you do Fire 1 and then wait and do Fire 2? Or did you do the recruit program?
I just did the Fire 1 class at that time.
Okay. And how was that?
It was good.
Yeah.
I had a lot of great instructors, like yourself, that have an extreme love for the job, that want to teach the next generation to be even better than they are. And then the people that I was with at the same time, it was just everybody wanted to be there. Everybody was having a blast. And, every time we had the opportunity to go a little more than what the class had to offer, we'd try to take that opportunity too.
Nice. Did I teach any of your classes?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so. So, okay. So then you got your EMT. Now, when you were going through this now, were you actively trying to get on a full-time department, or were you just doing some other things?
I was looking. I was looking more towards, because again, that right around that time, I was right around 18. So I still wasn't 100% sure if like the fire service was what I wanted to do full-time. So I was looking for call part-time, but again, couldn't really find anything close by that really fit me.
So when you say you couldn't find anything close by that fits you, what do you mean by that?
Like I was looking for to just try to get a feel for the job. So I was looking for like a call department.
Okay.
But again, I was still living with my parents, and it was difficult as where I lived in Hudson versus all the other call departments around.
So then is that why you joined? Man, you were on Epsom, Chester, and Deering, like all at once, or were you all on at one time? You were on all those departments.
Yep.
How do you do that? That's a lot. You work shifts there.
Yeah, it was basically Monday through Friday, 12-hour days.
Wow.
Yep.
So you kind of so there were 12-hour shifts.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're just kind of working shifts between all those three departments.
Yep.
So that's interesting. Was it difficult to work with all those departments? You know what? This would be helpful. Let's try this out. I didn't put that in. This is better. So was it difficult to work between three different departments and try to remember where everything is on each different apparatus? And I imagine it'd be difficult because you're bebopping to all these different places, and now your forcible entry tools are in a completely different compartment, I would imagine. So I imagine it must be difficult to keep up where remembering where everything is.
Yeah, it was difficult, yes. But at the same time, it also helped out because they were all fairly slower departments. So there was a lot of downtime, but we use that downtime for training, and one of the trainings is just your apparatus familiarization, just knowing where everything is. So it was a little difficult because sometimes you go to open up a compartment and it's wrong truck, and
Yeah, so it's just trying to keep up with that. I can only imagine. So,
yep.
how long did you do that for?
I did that for about a year and a half, and that was
And
right
did
up
you
to the
drop
time.
one department and keep with another?
Um, no, I kind of just I was on all three, and then that's when I got my conditional offer up in Laconia.
So,
Um,
yeah, go ahead.
but so I was just kind of just trying my best to keep up with each department, trying to pay bills, keep food on the table at that point. But
So that was your only job, was doing all those three different departments?
yep,
Wow. So you worked all those three different departments. You said that you did that for a year.
yes, year and a half.
Um, what was your favorite department to work on?
I'd say Chichester was.
Why
Um,
is that?
you had a great mix of calls. The first building fire that I was ever on was on Chichester, um, with the area of Route 4 running through the town, Route 4 and Route 28. We always had good accidents, and just a mix of between those two and medical calls. It was never was a bad day.
Nice. Now that was just 12-hour shifts. So was it like a 6 to 6, 7 to 7?
It was a 6 to 6.
Okay.
So with Chichester, especially, they had the paid day shift, which was 6 to 6, and then the overnight was basically an on call stipend. But if you lived out of town, you could stay at the station, but so there were some nights that I was staying there more than I was at home.
So yeah, I was imagining you had to stay there because if you're still living in Hudson at the time, that's a hell of a ride,
Yeah, it's about
right?
45 minutes.
Yeah, that's kind of a haul. So, what sparked you to try out for Laconia?
One of the guys that I worked with, he has a dream of, he had a dream of full-time fire service, and kind of working with him, he ended up being the guy that I worked with all the time. Um, so he kind of pushed me. He's like, we both want to do better, so we're both going to work out all the time. And then, a good friend of mine works up in Laconia as well. So he was also helping push me to get into the application process. And
So
yeah,
why didn't you try for Hudson?
um,
I know
I
I'm
didn't
putting
really
you on
want
the
to.
spot.
Yeah, no, I didn't really want to work in the city I live in, or city I
Okay.
grew up in. My parents knew everybody in the town, um, and so in the long run, I knew everybody in the town, and I didn't want to go on a call that, if it was somebody that I knew, and I wouldn't be able to
Yeah.
do my job to the fullest because it was somebody that I knew.
I definitely understand where you're coming from. I did the same thing though. I worked in the city or town that I lived in. It definitely has its benefits, right? You don't have to commute. The
Mhm.
kids get to work in going to school, so you can actually take the fire truck and go visit them at school, and when you're doing fire prevention or fire drills. But man, it's definitely difficult when you're meeting the people that you know on their worst days.
Yep.
And I've worked a couple of cardiac arrests, and having to deal with people I know firsthand. It's difficult.
Mhm.
Where I'm at now, the call comes in, I handle the call, and I go home, and I know I'm not going to see that family again because they don't live in my area. They live, it's my own little
Yep.
community, and um, I don't have to worry about those awkward moments of having to try to put on a happy face or try to, maybe honestly avoid them. There's definitely been times because I don't want to relive that in my mind, or I don't want
Yep.
that awkwardness of, they see me, and now either we have to have that kind of look at each other like, yeah, I know I see you and you see me, and we don't want to talk about it, but we're going to talk about it, kind of thing. You just want to get
Mhm.
your groceries and go home.
Yep.
So it's a kind of a good call, man. Plus you get, I'm sure I actually love my commute because I get to unwind.
Yep.
I get to listen to podcasts or just enjoy my music and have a nice cup of coffee on the way home
Yep.
or on the way to work. Um, because my commute's about the same. It's about a 40-minute commute, and I actually enjoy it quite much. People in New Hampshire are funny because some people don't like to drive very far,
Hmm.
and we don't really have that much to drive. But when people found out I was commuting from Milford to Derry, wow, I can't believe that you were going to drive. You're driving that far. That must be horrible. Like it's not that bad.
Yep.
You leave your house at 6 o'clock in the morning. There's no traffic. You
Yep.
leave your house or leave the station, and again, it's in the morning. There's no traffic going home. Everyone's going the opposite direction. So it's again, you get to unwind. You have a tough shift. You get to drive back home. You can literally just put something on autopilot for whatever you want to listen to, and just relax your mind. So
Yep.
it definitely has benefits to it. Absolutely. So that's a good call, man. I can appreciate that.
Yep.
So before you joined Laconia, though, you have some medical conditions that was tough, right?
Yep.
That you had obstacles to deal with. So I imagine you kind of thought that this would never happen for you.
Yes.
So why don't you tell me about that? Like, what is it that was a difficult journey to obtain your dream?
Yeah. So, growing up, I was always an active kid. I was always out. I did cross country, baseball, basketball, soccer, every sport that I could play, I played. Um, but when I was about 11 or 12, I started getting sick all the time. Um, I always had a cough. If anybody looked at me wrong, I was sick. Um, and for the longest time, the doctors couldn't figure out what was going on. Um, and at 13 years old, I was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. Now, nowadays, cystic fibrosis is diagnosed at birth. Um, and one of the more difficult things for me was um, when I was diagnosed with CF. It was a long day of doctor's appointments and meeting the care team. Um, and one of the questions that everybody would bring up is, to try to change the subject, try to get it into a lighter mood is, what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? So of course, I'd spark up, oh, I want to be a firefighter. And everybody's face would change and be like, oh, you can't be a firefighter.
They would flat out tell you can't do it.
Yep.
Wow. And
Yep.
you were 13 years old and they're telling you can't do something.
Yep.
Wow.
I grew up with very supportive parents that told me never let anything get in the way of your dreams. Always follow your dreams. So I would look at my parents, and my parents would be like, "Hey, buddy, listen, like you gotta find something different. Like, we'll help you find whatever you want to do, but you got to find something different."
And you haven't joined the Explorers yet because you joined the 14.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Yep. And actually, the buddy of mine that works up that told me to come work up in Laconia, I'd known him at the time. And he's the one that also got me into the Explorer post, and kind of sitting down with my parents, sitting down with my care team. We talked about it for a while. And, I'm like, well, if I can't be a firefighter, I want to try to get the most exposure to the fire service that I can. And so we sat down, we talked about it, and, the care team agreed that it would be a safe bet for me to join the Explorers. And then, thanks to Dave Morin for kind of taking me in, because, he could have turned me away.
Sure.
But, he took me in. And then again, when I turned 18, kind of new doctors, new nurses, new care team, everybody was telling me, oh, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, I don't know anymore. If you asked me the same question 5 years ago, I would have told you I wanted to be a fireman. And the care team turned to me and they were like, well, you're an adult now. We're not going to tell you no. We're going to just tell you it's not the best choice, but we'll support you with whatever you want to do.
So, for people who don't know, and even me, tell me about cystic fibrosis.
Yeah.
What would prevent you from living out your dream?
So CF it's a lung disease. It builds up extra thick mucus in your lungs. It basically just creates mucus everywhere that it can be. So I don't get my caloric intake has to be higher because I can't absorb the calories like a normal person. Um, and so, I'm underweight because of that. My
How
lung
much do you weigh?
functions. I weigh 200 pounds now.
And how tall are you?
6'9".
6'9".
Yep.
Holy cannoli.
Yep.
6'9", 200 pounds, bro. Now, is that growth due to this condition, or is that
It
something different?
it could be. I had an appointment yesterday, and they're doing a couple tests trying to figure out what's going on with that.
Are you still
Um,
growing?
a little bit.
How old are you?
26.
Oh, man.
So they're trying to figure out what's going on with that. Try to stop that if I'm still growing. Um, but yeah.
And
So
you have to squeeze your 6'9" body into an ambulance.
yep.
What
Yep.
size boot you wear?
15.
Good Lord, man. God
Yep.
bless you, man. I tell you, I never really knew a lot about that with
Yep.
you. That's something to be commended, bro. That you didn't give up. That's some serious shit.
Yep.
I'm proud of you.
Yep.
So, did you struggle when you were doing a lot of the physical stuff? I mean,
Yep.
because right, we got to take our CPAT, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got to take the physical test to become a full-time firefighter. When you were prepping for that, how difficult was that?
It was difficult, but the only thing, and I don't blame it on the CF, right? I blame it on before I started in the fire service, I just sat on the couch. Right? I didn't work out a whole lot.
Well,
I
I don't blame
didn't,
you. You got doctors telling you can't do shit,
yeah.
right? And
But
so
I mean,
they
they
crushed your
were,
hopes and dreams and said, "Don't worry about it, kid. You're never going to be anything you want to be."
yeah,
So
they
I'd be
were,
sitting on the couch too.
they always said, you have to get out, you have to do exercise. So I was behind the eight ball, but kind of when I decided like, hey, this is what I want to do, is when I kind of started getting into shape and doing all the trainings that I could to prep myself for CPAT. But it was difficult, because everything at that point. Um, but I'm still going after it and still working out as much as I can to stay in the best shape that I can be.
What
But
did you mental fortitude? How did you get to that mental place to keep pushing forward?
um, I mean, one of the things that stuck with me and has helped me in tough times since I went through Fire One. I believe he's a battalion chief now, but Steve DeRusso. When I was
Good
in,
man. He's a
when I
good.
was in, he is a great man. When I was in Fire One, I was having an extremely tough time on the last day of the hose block, and it was a point where um, I couldn't complete the last evolution of the day. I was just physically exhausted. I couldn't do it. Um, and I was told, well, you either have to do it today or you have to come back in the spring and finish. You're either done today or you're coming back in the spring and you can finish. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to give it one more shot. And Steve DeRusso came over to me and he's like, hey, bud, listen, mind over matter. If you want it, go fucking get it. So I've kind of taken those words and just used it when it's a tough time and just used it to push myself forward.
See, I love that, man. We need more people like that
Yep.
in the fire service as instructors to push the people who are struggling, not to embarrass them, not to make them feel like they're not worthy or they're insignificant or, if you can't do it, you're out. Sometimes it's that encouragement. And I'm sure he doesn't know your medical background,
Yep.
and which is great that he's pushing you and that motivated you to go, you know what, he's fucking right. And I'm going to push myself. I'm
Yep.
going to get through this. That's I do. I love Steve. I think his story from his near miss is incredible. That the fact that he keeps going, he's spreading uh, all this great positive energy and education about mental health, and his story about calling the maydays
Mm-hmm.
and I commend him a lot for the work that he's doing. It's not easy, and he tells his story so well, and he spreads that passion to everybody. and to hear your story of your interaction with him, that's amazing.
Yep.
That's a mentor. That's somebody that's, we all want to be. And that's honestly, when I'm at the drill yard, that's what I love to be. If I see someone struggling, I'm not going to give up on you. We're going to push
Yep.
you. We're not trying to push you to your breaking point where you fail. We're going to push you till you do overcome these obstacles. And you might hate us during the process, but we want to see you succeed. And that's man, I love that story. That's a great story, man.
Yeah.
So you pushed yourself through that. And when did you get your fire two?
Actually, about 4 months ago. Actually, not even
Okay.
4 months ago. 2 months ago.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
How was that process?
It was interesting. At that point, I already had the full-time job. Um, the only thing that I had against me was my pension, because I came into the fire service, or into the full-time service, with my fire one understanding and knowing the rules that you have to have fire two by the end of your first year. Um, but looking through the state website, they didn't have any, or all the classes would end after my first year. So we were working on trying to get an extension letter from the state. The state said no, like you have to have it by your first year. So then I had to do the on my time. So luckily,
Tell me about the on my time. What did you like about it? I like to get feedback. So people who are watching this or listening that don't know about New Hampshire, they started a program called On My Time. It's an online learning module for your Fire 1 and your Fire 2. You take everything online, and then when you're ready to test, do your practical version. You contact the state, the New Hampshire Fire Academy, and then they'll get you an instructor, and they'll get you to do your practical testing and sign you off on that, and then you complete that program. I've heard mixed reviews about it, so I'm curious, since you've gone through it, tell me a bit about that.
yeah. There were parts about it I liked, parts about it I didn't like. Um, I'm not a I'm not a huge read a book learner, right? I'm get out there, hands on, and do it. Um, so kind of sitting down doing the online modules wasn't the best, but getting out there, being able to do the hands on, it was nice because I was able to be basically a one-on-one. For me, that's great. Um, my chief was the state instructor that was doing it for me. Um, so it would be chief, myself, and two other guys from my shift that would go and do whatever we're doing, and then we go back and finish our shift. So it was nice having that one-on-one time. But what I didn't like was I didn't have the opportunity to learn how other people do it. Right. So I basically just had the opportunity to learn the Laconia way, and not necessarily, the Manchester way or the Nashville way or the Derry way. So now the only way that I know how to do things is the way that works for Laconia. So I'm not able to take what the other towns do and bring it back and maybe help change the Laconia way a little bit. But, so if I had the opportunity to do go to the fire academy and do it, I absolutely would have, but it worked for me. I got the certification. That's what matters.
Good, yeah. So, like I said, I've heard mixed reviews about it, and so it worked for you. You didn't feel dragged down. It was easy to use. The online platform was easy to use.
Yep.
The material was, I'm sure it was dry, but it was easy.
Yep.
Okay, so you got your conditional offer with Laconia.
Yes.
How pumped were you to get that?
Very, very. The chief called me on a Friday, and he's like, "Yeah, just let me know by Monday." And I'm like, "Chief, I don't need till Monday. I can give you an answer right now." Again, going back to there's no way you can be a firefighter, and hey, now I have a full-time conditional offer. It's like it felt amazing.
Man, there's so many people in your shoes, or that do this job, that forget that, that feeling about, sometimes it came easy to that person, right? They got their credentials, they did the CPAT, they did the oral board, they got it like that, easy peasy, and they take for granted, for other people, how much they have to fight, scratch and claw to get that job. because of either physical problems or maybe just testing processes, or maybe they're not as physically strong as the next person, and so those people have to really fight to get that job. And I think the people where it comes easy to them forget about how good it feels to have that job, and they take it for granted. When you have other people like yourself who was told at a young age, "Sorry, buddy, you're not going to have your dream job. It's not in the cards, man." And here you are. I'm sure you are blessed every day. I'm sure you come to work with a smile on your face and
Yep.
excited to do your job and excited to be there and learn, grow, and just be a part of that department. I'm proud of you, man. It's not an easy thing, and I couldn't even imagine being at a certain age where someone tells me I couldn't do something.
Yep.
Um, it's impressive, bro, and I'm sure you're miles ahead of a lot of people because you didn't give up, and you're thankful for that job and that opportunity every day. Laconia is lucky to have you.
Yeah.
So tell me let's about Laconia. Like, what is it that you like about the department? Because it's the lakes region, right? So
Yep.
you have lakes, you got boats, you kind of got it all. It's a beautiful area.
Yeah. And I don't know. You kind of summed it up. It's got everything.
Yeah.
The lakes, the boats, um, a lot of things that I wouldn't, especially growing up, I never had the opportunity to do. I never had the opportunity to go drive a boat or really go to the lakes that much. But now having that opportunity to work up there, it's the challenges. I'm not a super strong swimmer, so knowing that now I have to go and take classes to put myself in an uncomfortable position in a or in a fairly safe environment to be able to go do the things that I'm uncomfortable with and be uncomfortable with them, and just everything.
Yeah, bro, that's how you grow, right? That's how it
Yeah.
makes yourself better. Like, you can be in that comfort zone forever, but like Chief Dennis Riley says, that's where the comfort zone is where where skills go to die.
Yep.
And you can't just sit there and be comfortable all the time because you're not going to grow. You're not going to learn, and you're going to sit in that recliner because I can't do that skill. I'm just going to sit here and ignore it.
Yep.
That's especially where you're at because you're going to need those skills. So
Yep.
that's commendable, man. So now you did you apply anywhere else, or
I
was it just
applied
Laconia?
to one other place,
What was that?
Merrimack.
Merrimack. And how'd that
Yep.
go?
It went good. Even though I didn't get an offer down there, it's nice to just get the exposure. Going
Sure.
in, sitting down for an oral board. Um, never having the experience of really sitting down and doing a full-on oral board. It's kind of just been hey, shake your hand, you're hired. It's more, it was more of a get to know you instead of a competitive position. They went with people. They were a pretty young department from what they told me, and they went with people that had experience, which I can't blame them for trying to help their citizens the best that they can.
Sure.
Um, but
I
just
think
being
that
able
I think
to,
a lot of places it's a young department.
yep,
A lot of places is with all the retirements that are going on everywhere is becoming. My department is young. It's Londonderry is young.
yep,
It's really is. It's kind of a buyer's market too for people looking to get into fire service because man, we're needing help and we're just not getting it. And
yep,
that's not just New Hampshire. It's definitely everywhere. And it's not easy to fill those shoes of the people that came before us. There's a lot of seasoned firefighters that have retired, after 30 years and they leave. That's a
yep,
lifetime of knowledge
yeah,
that the people who've only been on the job for 5 years is not going to get anymore. Now they have to look up to somebody who's only been doing it for 10 years.
yep,
Not that you haven't learned a lot in 10 years, but 10 years between 30 years is a huge difference. And, those old guys are gone, and that definitely leaves a big hole. And we have such young departments. Yeah, I guess sometimes you got to find the people that have been on for a while, have that life experience
yep,
and job experience.
yep.
So, Laconia, you're thriving there. You got your advanced EMT. Now, are you going for your medic next?
Not in the near future.
Now,
No.
that's a tough one.
Yep.
And just like I said, it's we're having a shortage of a lot of things, and honestly, paramedics has become quite the shortage in the state of New Hampshire.
Yep.
To do those duties of firefighter and paramedicine, um, everyone is feeling that one for sure. That's a huge issue that people are trying to figure out what to do,
Yep.
and try to get more medics into the fire service, or inspire the current employees to get their paramedic license. And but like me, like that's tough. I know what I'm smart at, and what I'm not smart at, and I
Yep.
am not that smart,
Yep.
and I know I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
My hat's off to anybody who does paramedic and firefighting, man, because just having once you have kids and you have a whole life going on, like that is some difficult shit.
Yep. Yeah. No,
What do you have
I'm
for goals? Like, what is there anything else that you're planning to do? You've done your advanced EMT, you've gotten your fire too. You just came off probation.
Yep.
Congratulations, my
Thank
friend.
you.
How was
Thank you.
that? Did you was it a struggle? Was it a cakewalk? I mean, obviously, they're going to be watching this, so we don't want to say it was a cakewalk, because
Yeah.
they're going to rip you apart for that.
I wouldn't say it was a cakewalk. I had my struggles, but just the guys on my shift. Like there's an extremely just a lot of knowledge on my shift. My senior guy downtown has 10 years on Laconia. Another guy has 4 years in a bigger department that went before he came down to Laconia. Um, one of the medics that I got to work with for a brief time had a stint with FDNY. So I had just a bunch of knowledge just to help me, get comfortable not only as a firefighter but as an AEMT, and then just learning who I am as a person.
Yeah.
The most difficult part that I still struggle with are the streets, streets and hydrants. But that's kind of I got the next 27 years to figure all of those out.
So you're going to get that in time.
Yeah.
So you are also doing the Explorer Academy.
Yep.
And you're looking forward to the next year of the
Oh
Explorer
yeah.
Academy?
Yep.
And what is it that you like the most about it? Or you can pick not one, but you can pick a couple. But what is it why do you keep coming back? So a lot of people, if they don't know, the Explorer Academy, New Hampshire Fire Explorer Academy is for the explorers who are in the state and sometimes even out of state, that they learn all year round. This is like the big summer event where they can take everything that they learned, everything they're doing, and for the end of the summer, at the end of June, they'll come up to Concord, and they will stay on the drill yard, and they'll have an actual fire week where they get to live at the fire station. They get to ride trucks. They get to do all the fire skills and taught by top-notch fire instructors. No one's getting paid. Meals are provided. Uniforms are provided. And myself and Nate and a bunch of other people volunteer our time. Again, not getting paid. We take time off to spend a week with 55 cadets in the summertime in New Hampshire, and it's a life-changing event. When I did it that first year, they brought it back. I didn't know what to expect, and it changed my life, man. I was going through some dark times, and I did that for the week, and I walked out a different. It was like a religious experience. The kids taught me more than I ever taught them, and
Yep.
working with you and everybody else, it was mind blowing how everybody came together as a team. And the Explorer Academy, again, is a nonprofit, so everything that we have is due to people giving money and helping us to keep this going year after year. It's not cheap, obviously, feeding 55 plus cadets and adults, and field trips and uniforms and anything else that comes up. And we spend a whole year planning for this, and Nate's a big part of that. So we come back every year, and sometimes it's not that easy during the week. It can get pretty stressful. So, like for you, what is it that inspires you to keep coming back?
Yeah. So just going through as an explorer, not having the opportunity to go through the academy, but having the opportunity to get that experience as an explorer was one of the biggest reason that I am where I am today. And I want to make sure that I can provide that experience for the cadets that might be having, tough times at home or something like that, that they can get away for a week and have fun with a bunch of people that love the job, that want to help them, and just helping them with whatever they need help with. It's also great seeing some of the kids coming out of the academy. I know I don't know the exact number, but there are a bunch of them throughout the state right now that are live-in students as working as firefighters as they're going to college, and knowing that, again, a handful of them are mutual aid partners to me now. Knowing that I might be part of a reason why they are where they are today. It's a great feeling. And
it's definitely giving back to the fire service. I think it's one of the things that keeps me coming back is that we are giving back, that we're inspiring. Like you said, there's a handful of kids right now that are going through the programs, and they're going through the recruit class, and they're on the way to start careers pretty soon in the fire service because they had mentors, they had people inspiring them, people like you working with them and motivating them and telling them not to give up and that you believe in them. And it's just life changing. If you don't experience it, you don't even know what we're talking about. It's so refreshing to see kids go through the program and finish the program and then continue on as paramedics or firefighters and paramedics, or some even go in as flight medics. And I know with the Explorer legacy, a lot of these people, they make it all the way to chiefs, or they've been in the fire service for 30 years, and they started way back in 30 years ago. My father-in-law, for one, he started as Explorer, and he had a 28-year fire service career and ended on National Fire as a deputy chief.
Yep.
All because of the Explorer program, and it kept him going and wanted to do it. So the program does work, and I think that if we have more buy-in from area departments and area chiefs to help fundraise and give money and help us make this successful, you're going to get people back into your departments and into the fire service area, because these kids see those departments. They see you, they see me, they see other people that are on career departments, and you start talking about your department. It's that free publicity, that free PR, when we're telling these 18-year-olds or 20-year-olds, like, hey, I work for this department, and you really should come over. It's a fun place to work, and we love it, and we think you'd be a great fit. So they remember that, and they go through their whole fire career, fire education, and they get their CPAT, and then they apply over to those departments you just mentioned. Yep. So it's literally just giving back to the fire service and keeping that growing, and then they give back, and it's just that cycle that continues to grow. And what is it that you liked a part of it? Like, did you like teaching? That you taught some, but you also volunteered to also be leading a group of cadets. You had was it the second years?
This past year we had the first years.
You had the first year, so you were teaching, and you were leading 14-year-olds to 15-year-olds.
Yep.
And that's kind of a big task, man. Yeah. It's
like
kind of
herding
like summer
cats.
camp, but it's not, right? And I hate it when people call it a summer camp, because I don't think of it as a summer camp.
Mm-hmm.
The summer camp is usually you're fishing and you're doing archery and you're doing arts and crafts, but we're literally putting on packs and our gear, and we're sweating our butts off, going up and down stairs and humping hose lines and forcing doors, and that's not summer camp to me. That's training.
Yeah.
So you're leading these 14 to 15-year-old kids. You gotta continuously group them all together as like herding cats.
Yep.
Was it challenging doing that?
It was, but it was a rewarding challenge. Especially after this past year, I got a message from one of the cadets that I had's mom, and said, "Hey, he's a Hudson Explorer," and she was like, "Hey, he has something he wants to give you." And I'm like, "Oh, it's just I don't, not to say I don't want it, but I'm like, oh, he's going to try to give me something." And it's like, I volunteered my time because I want to make an impact. And he ended up giving me a card that said, "Thank you." And like, he's in debt to me. But he's not, all I'm doing is just donating my time, trying to help him make sure he has a good time and learn as much as they can.
I know exactly what you're talking about, because I got one of those cards.
Yep.
And he's a top-notch kid.
Yep.
Very polite, very well spoken, and But that's it, right? We're not doing it for glory. We're not doing it for recognition. We're doing it because we want these kids to have a future. I honestly, I wish that I knew about this when I was a kid. I struggled a lot when I was a kid. I was a shit growing up, and I had no direction in life. I wish that I knew about programs like this. It probably would have helped me to stay in school. I dropped out in 11th grade. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anything, and I just eked my way through life, usually getting in trouble, and just figuring out where I'm supposed to be in life. And had I known about these programs, I probably would have had a different path. But we need to talk about these programs, especially for the more at-risk youths as well.
Mhm.
The ones who are really at risk of dropping out of school and have no direction in life. I think if they know that, hey, the fire service is a really cool adventure, and you can be paid well, and yes, you can go to college to further your career, but to do it, you can also go to the recruit program, and you don't have to go to college if college is not your thing right off the bat, but you can still learn a trade. The fire service is a trade, and you can learn that trade and start a great career. And then as you grow, you can get your college education, and you can further your career that way and move up the ranks. But honestly, like, no one ever taught me that. I had no idea that ever existed. And I think we could save a lot more kids from dropping out of school and having no direction in life if they know about these programs, and where they can have a direction, and they can do more with their life if they stay on the right path and don't get in trouble and don't get suspended or arrested. So again, with like you and the other people that volunteer their time, it's an amazing thing to watch how well you interact with those kids and how they react with you, and you treat them with respect. You don't come at them like you're the adult and you have to listen to me, and and you don't demand that they have to call you sir or no sir. And it's we teach them respect. We teach them that there's a hierarchy for the system, and we do that because when they get in the fire service, they won't be unfamiliar with them. So it's fantastic, and I'm looking forward to next year. I've spoken to a lot of people, and they can't wait to come back. We had Raymond Dorville, and for this year, and man, he has been praising it because same thing, it was life changing. He couldn't believe what an effect it had on him, and that's what I say. If you haven't been a part of it, it's really difficult to explain that feeling you get of just being around these kids all week. And I mean, his son just completely immersed himself. As soon as
Yeah,
I turned around, he's marching with the group, and I said to Raymond, like, "Hey, that's your boy. He's marching over there with them." And I see him with a helmet on, and he was in it to win it. He
yep,
had a blast. And Jeremy Donch, he came up and he loved the program. He can't wait to come back up next year. He's got
nice.
some great ideas for us. I'm excited for him to come up, and the kids ate it up. They loved seeing him, and um, I love seeing it grow. I love seeing that the people who aren't from our state see what we have going on, and they go, "Man, you're doing it right."
Yep,
And it makes me proud. It makes me proud to have people like you that continue to be a part of it and want to see it succeed. So that's my tangent about the Explorer program. That's my big passion about that. So, anything else you got going on in the fire service, or anything else going on? Like, do you plan on taking any specialized courses or classes? Anything else that what is it your passion? What is it that you like? Whether it's a New Hampshire thing or just a fire service thing. Do you like ladder operations, engine operations? Do you prefer EMS? Do you RITS, or what is it that motivates you, that you like the most when you're doing training?
yeah. Um, I don't know. I have a passion for the fire service at this point.
All of it?
All of it. I
Yeah. Okay.
want to be the best that I can. Um, in February, I'm looking at taking an ice rescue tech class. I'm going to look at taking swift water, rope rescue. I want to be an all around guy.
Those are good tech classes to take, man. I took those. I really enjoyed. It's cold as fuck with the ice rescue shit. Obviously, it's beneficial that we all take that in the state of New Hampshire,
Yep.
because especially you're living off you're working off a lake,
Yep.
and I mean we get a lot of those calls, especially usually for dogs or deers in the water, but we do get people as well. But it's extremely beneficial for all of us to get that ice rescue skill. Sometimes I think it should be mandatory, just because I think every department should have their members, if they have bodies of water in their communities, they should be pretty well trained and knowledgeable how to go into the ice when they need to do rescue and how to get those suits on.
Yep.
So yeah, man, it was actually, I had a lot of fun taking the ice rescue class. As cold as it was, is another bonding experience, man. Like everyone's cold, everyone's miserable, but at the end of the week, everyone's happy. Everyone's got smiles on their face, and they had a fun time. So you're really going to like the ice rescue. The swift water, I actually enjoyed very much. I like yourself. I'm actually not a very strong swimmer, so I had to learn how to get better at that. And knowing your ropes ties in with Swiftwater. And I took Swiftwater 1, Swiftwater 2, got on the Swiftwater rescue team. It was actually really cool. I got out of my comfort zone. I got comfortable with being uncomfortable. Dude, diving into the rapids is not a normal thing. People don't do that, right?
Yep.
So that was like a scary thing. Like I had to, I was really reluctant to jump off into the rapids, but once you do it and you realize you have equipment that's not going to fail you, it's pretty fun. So I actually want to see you doing that because I want to see a 6'9" person in those suits
Yep.
and seeing them rescue you.
Yep.
But man, that's good. Yeah, those are good things to take, man. What do you have for anything for anybody else? Like, what's some word of advice that you could give for people that the struggle that you went through?
Yep.
I mean, do you still have self-doubt? Do you still have any worries? You said you're going to the doctors to check out the other stuff that's going on. Does that bog you down?
A little bit.
How do
Sometimes.
you stay positive?
I don't know. Just take every day as it comes.
Yeah.
You try to look on the other side of things, right? I got a family that loves me. I got a bunch of guys at work that, even if I don't, if for some reason I have to leave the fire service, they'll still be there for me.
Mm-hmm.
And really that's all I can ask for.
That's good. I mean, I totally get it. Like, it's hard to think of something right away, but your determination is definitely it's inspiring. Again, being told at a young age that you're never going to do this job, and then here you are, at 26,
Yep.
thriving, making it, man.
Yep.
It's impressive. So again, though, like if you got somebody who's struggling, they come in as a probie, how can you motivate them?
I'll do anything that I can to help them out. If it's just words of encouragement, then that's what I can do. But anything they need. I had a bunch of people, but even that I don't even know about, that helped me through everything that I went through. And it's the least that I can do is, give back to somebody else.
Great, man. Well, we're going to be closing it up pretty soon here. Is there anything else you think you got for me, or anything I missed on you?
Not that I can think of.
No? Okay. So let's see what I can give you for a parting question. What is one of your favorite songs that motivates you when you're working out?
When I'm working out, I'd say anything by Motley Crue.
Oh, wow. Bring it old school. Okay.
Yep.
Why Motley Crue?
I don't know. Just the heavy metal. Just do a couple scoops of pre-workout and gets you fired up.
Okay, that's good. I like that, Motley Crue.
Yep.
Well, Nate, I really enjoy you being on here with me tonight. You got a great story, man. Very inspirational, and I really appreciate the hell out of you. That's some hard shit to go through when you're younger, and the fact that you're still going strong, and it doesn't seem like anything really bogs you down too much. And now you got a girlfriend though too, right?
Yep.
When you getting proposed to her? How long you been dating?
We'll see. But just over 2 years actually.
Okay, all right. You got some time then,
Yep.
right? All right, Nate. Well, thank you so much. This is Nate Gendreau. He just completed his probationary period for Laconia Fire. He's going to be joining me with the Explorer Academy again in June, June 21st through the 28th. We're going to have some special guests for this summer. I'm not releasing it yet. When we get closer, we'll tell you about it. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Nate, I appreciate you, and we'll be talking soon.
Yeah.
You be safe, brother.
You too. Thank you.